Joining us is Dave Zirin from edgeofsports.com and also sports editor at The Nation. Dave, we talked last week about Malcolm Gladwell arguing today, actually, at the Slate Intelligence Squared debate that college football should be banned and that potentially it will be banned. And really the reason he cites is as more and more is known about the prevalence of long-term brain injury, CTE, as a result of college football, combined with the fact that these athletes are not getting paid. Parents will never let their kids get into football, first of all. And number two, the legal risk to colleges will be so great that college football will basically disappear. What do you think?
Well, I think there are a lot of good points there that need to be unpacked. I mean, one of the things that we know, just statistics, which don't lie, are that almost 50% of the big college football programs lose money. And that's sort of the last argument that people are making now in defense of college football, is that the rest of the athletic departments depend on it for survival. But over 90% of athletic departments lose money overall. And like I said, almost half of college football programs lose money by themselves. And oftentimes when college football programs lose money, it's like this big sucking sound that actually takes down other programs with it, which we saw just down the block from me at the University of Maryland, which had to eliminate 6 different sports teams, largely because of all the money they sunk into college football. So I think there's a lot of truth to this. It's not a new critique. It's been around for 100 years, honestly, about the bizarre role that college football plays on many campuses. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know if Malcolm Gladwell would necessarily agree with me, which would be to say that if you're going to have college football, then the students should be recognized as campus employees and have labor protections and be paid for what they do. But I certainly think that he and people on his side are definitely on the right track. It's a profoundly broken institution.
One of the arguments that I heard that doesn't really resonate with me is, well, listen, people know that there are risks to playing college football, much the same as they know there are risks to boxing or being in MMA. The difference, I think, though, is that those are, at least presumably, after you get out of the initial amateur stage, it's a professional sport for which you are being paid, whereas with college football, it's not that money isn't being made, although you're saying actually a lot of the programs do lose money, but it is a big draw for the university. There is a benefit being derived. It's just that the players are getting all the risk and little of the reward, unless they eventually go on to have an NFL career. But even that's a difficult argument to make, as we know, because of how short those NFL careers are.
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, I think this is one of those things where you got to go on arguments based on the current science. And it's still something that I don't think we know enough about. But I've heard enough neurologists, I've heard enough people who are experts in the field say that the real danger is playing any kind of tackle football before the age of 14. That's when your brain is in full development. But whether you're 14, 18, or 28, the idea of putting yourself at that kind of physical harm without seeing any compensation for it, or even the ability to get workers' compensation for it, is something that is just, I mean, it's really noxious. I mean, it's a pretty awful situation that most players have, and the relationship they have with most of their schools is a very abusive one. But when you're on that track from a very early age, it makes it difficult to figure out a way to protest against it. I mean, I think, though, this is beyond just the players and what they want. It's about what we think is in the best interests of institutions of higher learning in this country.
And well, what about the question, though, of, listen, no one's forcing anybody to start football when they're young. No one's forcing anyone to be in high school football. No one's forcing anyone to play college football. If the benefits exist for doing that, either in terms of enjoyment, potentially an NFL career, whatever it may be, who are we to impose and say this is the one sport we're going to say shouldn't exist anymore on college campuses?
I mean, I know 11-year-olds who can drive a car. I know 10-year-olds who can hold their liquor, believe it or not. The things of growing up in a certain Jewish family with lots of Manischewitz flowing sometimes. I'm sure there are 11-year-olds who know how to hold their smoke without coughing up. I mean, we do have certain laws because of the understanding that because of biology and how one's body develops, certain things can either be harmful to them or harmful to others. And if we start to think about putting football in that category from a medical, not a moral perspective, but from a medical perspective, well, that puts a lot of people who make a lot of money in a lot of trouble. And I'm not just talking about the NFL. I'm not just talking about people at the professional ranks. I mean, you now have this insane cottage industry of like mass capitalist expansion aimed at enticing parents of children as young as being in utero. And I'm serious about that. But in utero, about training them to be professional athletes. And all of these things are branded by, Nike, Adidas, Reebok from a very early age. So you have a lot of very powerful forces allayed against any kind of broader medical or societal responsibility about these games or these sports. So it makes the entire debate extremely skewed. And I would also point out that anytime you talk about sports in the United States and the professionalization of youth sports in the United States, the argument about free will becomes profoundly skewed, not just because of pressures that parents put on small children, but that's why I'd always find it bizarre when I hear some people say, well, my 8-year-old really wants to play and there's nothing I could do to stop him. It's like, really? But he's 8. Is it about what you want or about what your kid wants? But it's also, I think, very much about the way that, particularly when you're talking about college football and the pros, like the role that poverty plays in steering people onto these tracks, which people are very loath to discuss. It's like this idea of class in the United States and how it distorts all of these things. Like if you are somebody who comes from a family that has the choice to not have you be a 350-pound offensive lineman, chances are your family will make that choice for you and put you on a different track than that. And if you are on that track, well, then there are massive health risks that go with that and massive dangers that go along with that. Now, if you're over 18 and that's the decision you make, I'm definitely not for a big brother stepping in and stopping you in that case. But if you're under 18 or particularly under 14, well, then I think we're getting to the point where we're reaching, to borrow an annoying phrase from Malcolm Gladwell, we're reaching a tipping point here where we begin to have to look at the evidence and ask some very, very tough questions about whether or not there is a broader deleterious societal effect in having football so institutionalized for children as young as ages 5.
All right, Dave Zirin, edgeofsports.com, sports editor at The Nation. Great to talk to you today. Hope to see you at Netroots next month.
Sounds good, David. Thank you.